Everyone who has seen Ju Yako knows that Kayako is ferocious and abnormal, but no one knows who made Kayako become the hero. The Ju Yako ending will reveal all the answers. The story starts with a case of co-defendant abuse. When the police and the nursery staff arrived at the scene, they found the house in a mess. The air was filled with a pungent stench, but the owner was nowhere to be found. In the closet of the second-floor room, the police found Junshong, who had starved to death. Because he had been dead for a long time, the body had already shown signs of decay. Yamamoto Takashi, who participated in the investigation, was so frightened by this scene that he collapsed to the ground. Just when he wanted to crawl out of the room, Junshong stood behind him strangely. In the end, Yamamoto Takashi used his own camera to record Junshong's resentment. Since the incident at the Yamakawa family, this place has become a haunted house. Years later, the house was reclaimed by a real estate company. Xiaokui used her brother-in-law's position as the company's head to secretly enter the haunted house with a few friends. The house was clean and tidy. The girl was quite disappointed. However, Nanami heard someone humming a strange ballad in the room. Shi Mishung found 3 pieces of drawing paper in the corner with strange patterns drawn on them with crayons. The drawings showed different ways of death. Coco, the 3 girls each held a drawing and laughed at the childish style of drawing. They didn't know what it meant. Nanami followed the sound up to the second floor and came to the room where Junshong died. The lights above her head flickered uncontrollably, causing Nanami to step back in fear. When she lowered her head, she saw a pool of black water suddenly appeared on the ground. The door of the closet next to the water began to shake constantly. Nanami was so scared that she almost lost her soul and ran away, but the door suddenly closed in an instant. At this time, a pool of dark water flowed out of the closet. Nanami turned around and saw that Nanami had fallen. The other 3 girls laughed at her without hiding their laughter. The 4 girls did not realize that Zhou Yuan had quietly descended on them. Yayoi suffered misfortune during PE class when she suddenly noticed the curtain behind her move. She couldn't help but get in to check it out of curiosity. However, the backstage was empty. There was no one at all. Yayoi was about to leave when the piano behind her suddenly made a strange sound. Yayoi thought she had heard it wrong, but the next second, the cold touch made Yayoi suspect that she was sick. He shivered and ran into the infirmary and hid under the quilt on the bed. There was a ball of paper hidden in the quilt. On it was the one that Yayoi had seen before. The painting showed a person lying on the bed. Before Yayoi could figure out the curse, Yayoi disappeared from school without a trace. Not long after, Reina also took sick leave. Out of worry about Xiaokui, Nanami and Nanami agreed to visit Reina at her home. However, Reina locked herself in the room. After finally opening the door, they saw that the room was dark. All the gaps were covered with tape. Reina was trembling and hiding under the table. Xiaokui could see that suddenly, Reina became excited. This sentence reminded Nanami of the boy she met before. Then, she was shocked to see a pale cat sticking out of the drawer. Nanami couldn't stand such a weird atmosphere in Reina anymore and urged Xiaokui to leave. But when they were about to get up, Reina rushed over. After hearing that, they ignored Reina and ran away like a gust of wind. Reina, who was in the room, was completely insane. She cried for a long time and finally remembered to replenish her energy. But when she opened the milk bottle, a dark liquid poured out. Reina was so scared that she threw the milk box on the ground. But as the liquid spread, she could clearly see a little ghost lying on her back. Reina straightened up instantly. The kettle exploded, scalding her skin and flesh with boiling water. Her screams attracted vengeful spirits. Then a pair of pale ghost hands rested on her shoulders. Just like that, Reina became a hidden body in the refrigerator. At the same time, Xiaokui was accompanying her sister to wash dishes. Her sister looked absent-minded and asked her if she missed a man. Xiaokui asked if the haunted house was really haunted, but her sister and brother-in-law refused to tell her the truth. Xiaokui then realized that things were not as simple as she thought. Standing in front of the mirror in the bathroom, she began to blame herself and cry for her previous recklessness. If she hadn't opened the haunted house, the sisters would have lived happily. However, she was crying and something happened to her. A ghost hand slowly reached into the girl's chin. If she had a chance to regret, she would never break into the haunted house, let alone touch the weird painting. However, it was too late. After hearing a scream, the sister pushed open the door of the bathroom, but Xiaokui had disappeared. There were bloodstains on the wash basin, and only a chin that had been separated from the body was left on the ground. The sister was scared and sat on the ground, muttering to herself, "Where did Xiaokui go?" Meanwhile, Nanami emerged from Reina's house. Riding the shaky subway, she was unaware that her three good sisters had fulfilled the curse one after another. She felt uneasy, then saw two familiar figures. Nanami rushed to join her small group. However, just as the saying in the circle of friends was true, it was better not to. Meet. Reina and Xiaokui lost their composure. Nanami was terrified and her knees buckled instantly. However, she crawled along the thighs of the crowd for a few steps and saw Yayoi again. Nanami traveled to the stairs of the haunted house. She felt like she had a nightmare, but she couldn't tell whether she was in a dream or outside of a dream. When she went downstairs, she slipped and fell. The floor was full of sticky black liquid. Before she could figure out what it was, she was suddenly dragged into the room by a mysterious force. A young girl was used as a rat. Nanami, who was heartbroken, begged for mercy again and again. But the curse never let go of anyone who had nothing to do with her. Nanami vanished when Xiaokui's sister took her away. The new occupant entered. It was the renowned Jayeji. But at that time, she was still alive. Jayeji was very satisfied with this cheap and spacious haunted house. Without saying anything, she asked her husband Zuo Bo Gangshang to pay the money and sign the contract. Jayeji and her husband moved into the house they liked. Unexpectedly, their story was linked to an elementary school teacher a few years later. Near the haunted house, an intern teacher named Nagano Yuichi was inexplicably mentioned in an elementary school. She was delighted to see a strange spiral circle on the playground as soon as she left the classroom. At first she didn't care, but she didn't expect that on the first day of her post, Yi encountered a problem student. A child named Zuobo Junshang had not been to school for 7 days. Yi called Junshang's home but no one answered the phone. She checked her work records and discovered that the former head teacher also couldn't reach Junshang's parents. Yi reported the matter to the principal, but the principal was evasive and seemed to be deliberately avoiding something. After school, Yi was surprised to find a paper on Junshang's desk with a strange spiral circle, which made her feel uneasy. She hurried home, changed her clothes, and came to Junshang's house for a home visit. However, as soon as she entered the door, she looked up and saw an arm sticking out of the attic window. However, the people upstairs did not welcome her. However, Yi still rang the doorbell secretly. Unexpectedly, no one responded when she rang the doorbell and called for people. When she pulled the handle, the door was open. Yi walked in carefully, but she saw the gloomy face of the family. After saying hello, I asked Junshang where he was. After hearing this answer, I didn't know whether to leave or stay. The coconut disappeared suddenly. I closed the door. She had to say hello before leaving as a courtesy. But as soon as she took off her shoes, she heard the strange humming. Following the sound, she went up to the second floor and saw, hearing movement inside the tightly sealed door. Without speaking, she silently requested to open the door. However, just as she wanted to keep opening the closet, she had to follow him to the living room. But the teacup... The guest was obviously not sincere. I don't know if the family what is Yi doing. He went around the partition and looked through the wall. Yi decided not to go up for tea and ran out of the gate. The next day, Yi met the principal again. The principal still didn't want to meddle in other people's business, but she told Yi that Junshang's previous teacher had passed away 2 days ago. Yi checked the work records again and found that the previous teacher had also visited the home, but didn't see Junshang and his father. The strange thing was that Yi also saw the spiral circle in the previous teacher's work diary. In the evening, the boyfriend returned to when my family saw that one of them didn't turn on the lights or cook, and was staring at the strange circle like a mental patient. They guessed that she was not doing well at work. They couldn't help but pick up the photo and ask who was the problem student. However, on the second day, when Z was in class, he unexpectedly saw Junshang, who had not been to class for more than 10 days. Z was relieved, but his happiness didn't last long. He noticed that Junshang was only doodling on the table. Z hurried forward to stop him. It is hard to imagine that this little boy who keeps making circles on the table is the most evil ghost hidden in the curse house. He kills people without blinking, so why would he care about the teacher's scolding? Junshang disappeared out of thin air. The students looked at the teacher talking to himself and were so surprised that they couldn't close their mouths, because in the eyes of the children, the table has always been empty. Since seeing Junshang in class, his behavior has become more and more weird. When he split his homework, he would draw circles involuntarily. When he woke up, he suddenly saw a dark figure passing through the corridor. Then Z followed him all the way to the classroom. He found a diary on the desk that recorded Jayazi's life. Z was so fascinated that he didn't notice the ghost standing behind him. Jiren came home and saw Z drawing circles on the glass absent-mindedly. His excitement increased as he continued. Jiren shouted for him to stop, but he kept Ting fainted and passed out. The owner hurriedly put him on the bed, but he kept shouting another person's name. The owner finally realized something was wrong because strange things also happened to him. The owner knew that the microwave oven was definitely not Schrodinger's cat, but he had to figure out the cause and effect of what happened. Otherwise, Z would sink deeper and deeper. Then he found the diary in Z's bag. In the diary, Jayazi was actually a real baby crazy. After praying to the gods to no avail, she set her sights on the devil. So Shanhe Shengshang satisfied him. It was hard to say who took advantage of whom between Shanhe Shengshang and Jayazi. 10 months later, Jayazi gave birth to Zuobo Shengshang as she wished. Jayazi's persistence and weird way of begging for a baby made Jiren feel creepy, but he had to bite the bullet. After further investigation, the executive found the address of Zuobo's family. Seeing the door open, he walked in directly, but he did not gain anything. Then he came to the real estate company and was received by Xiao Kui's brother-in-law. He wanted to conceal the haunted house, but after learning that the executor's girlfriend had also become a victim, Xiao Kui's brother-in-law could not help but tell the executor that 9 years ago, his wife and sister-in-law also died because of this haunted house. He also revealed the truth. 19 years ago in the summer, a child was dumped dead. In the house, the owner now understood a little. He went to the library to look up the information from that year and saw the news of the child abuse incident 19 years ago. After comparing, he found that Shanhe Junshang was Zuobo Junshang. The owner fell into thought again. To a certain extent, Junshang controlled everything in the haunted house. But Jiren didn't understand why he had to take revenge on others. However, it was too late to. The question. After Jiren died, his sister woke up and saw the residual image of her boyfriend. His sister took a breath and went to Junshang's house again. She entered the attic and opened the closet, but found nothing scary inside. Only a few photo albums and videotapes that documented everything about Junshang were there. After being tortured to death for the first time, Junshang was reincarnated as Jayazi's son. I thought I could have lived a happy life, but I never thought that it would be a bubble in the end. Zuo Bo Gangshang found that Junshang looked less and less like him, and this son never wanted to stay close to him, so he suspected that his wife had an affair. Zuo arrival could not be explained. In the midst of the quarrel, Jayazi simply broke the jar and provoked her for the first time. Zuo Bo Gangshang angrily twisted Jayazi's neck and then put Jayazi's favorite black cat in the microwave. Zuo Bo, who had no intention of leaving a survivor, also killed Junshang, who had just turned 10. Junshang never lived past 10 years old twice, so he placed his last fantasy on Z. Just when Jayeji tried her best to kill Z, Junshang handed over an olive branch to save him. Z didn't want him to be so sneaky. Junshang's little mouth immediately became angry and screamed. Z woke up again and thought he had escaped. But he was too happy too early. Junshang wanted to use the person he loved most to destroy him personally. The story ends here. Grudge is a movie that makes people more scared the more they think about it. The most unexpected thing is that he has been acting as the supporting role of the little devil Junshang turned out to be Jayazi's senior. Shangzu here. See you soon.